Christian Dior, Yves Saint Laurent, Marc Bohan, Gianfranco Ferré, John Galliano, Raf Simons, Grazia Chiuri, and Jonathan Anderson. One iconic Dior, or better say, once iconic. Let's break down their design codes one by one. Let's talk about Christian Dior. Founded in 1946 with textile magnate Marcel Boussac, Dior came into post-war Paris at a moment bricks were rationed, hems were short, and everyone was still stuck in utilitarian practical clothes because of the war. And then came 1947. Dior dropped the New Look collection, celebrated ultra-femininity and opulence in women's fashion. Women went insane. People queued around the block to see it. Critics? Some were skeptical at first, calling it excessive, almost too much after years of minimalism and practical wear. But the public? They adored it. Finally, women could feel feminine again. Elegant, luxurious, dramatic. It screamed, "Paris is back, baby!" Then Dior introduced the Junon dresses in 1949, which took that ultra-feminine DNA even further. Long flowing skirts, soft but defined waists, tailoring that made every woman feel sculpted without feeling restrictive. It was elegance dialed up, refined, and perfectly in line with Dior's obsession with structured femininity. Critics called it modern and aspirational, and couture clients couldn't get enough. The general Christian Dior design code was all about ultra-femininity, structure, and luxury. Think hourglass silhouettes, perfectly shaped waists, dramatic skirts, refined tailoring, a combination of art and architecture for the female body. Every look was designed to make women feel confident, glamorous, and completely desirable. By 1948, Dior had opened a ready-to-wear boutique on Fifth Avenue in New York and started licensing perfumes, handbags, shoes, and more. By 1949, he was literally dominating the fashion export scene. 75% of Parisian couture exports and 5% of France's total exports. Not just culturally, but financially. The company chose to continue the house. Christian Dior had named his young assistant Yves Saint Laurent as his successor. In spring-summer 1958, just months after Dior's death, Saint Laurent presented his first collection for Dior. It was a clear departure. Instead of the sharply cinched waist and structured hourglass silhouette that defined Christian Dior's new look, Saint Laurent introduced a softer, more fluid shape. The collection centered around the trapeze line, dresses that flared out from the shoulders and skimmed away from the body, removing waist emphasis entirely. The silhouette was loosely inspired by Dior's earlier A-line experiments from 1955, but Saint Laurent pushed it further. Volume shifted upward, structure relaxed. The waist, Dior's core design anchor, was no longer the focal point. This was the first major rewrite of Dior's design code. Saint Laurent's Spring-Summer 1958 Trapeze collection was a success. It reassured clients and kept the house financially stable after Dior's sudden death. But he didn't stay safe for long. Season after season, he pushed Dior further away from its original structure. Less corseted waists, less internal construction, less fabric. The silhouettes became lighter, younger, almost rebellious compared to Christian Dior's controlled elegance. Then came the breaking point, the 1960 Beat collection. Black leather jackets, turtlenecks, a clear beatnik influence pulled straight from left bank youth culture. This was couture, and suddenly it looked underground. The critics were harsh, clients were confused, and Marcel Boussac was furious. He wasn't interested in youth rebellion inside a couture house that had rebuilt France's luxury image. He blamed Yves Saint Laurent directly, and he fired him. The termination led to a lawsuit for breach of contract, which Saint Laurent won. He later used that settlement to co-found his own house. Okay, so after all the Yves Saint Laurent drama, the soft shapes, the flared trapezes, and that whole Beat collection mess, Dior needed someone to calm things down. Enter Marc Bohan, the ultimate fashion diplomat. He became the longest-serving creative director in Dior history, even longer than Christian Dior himself. Bohan's magic? He didn't throw a tantrum with the silhouettes like Yves did or go all Galliano-level drama later on. Instead, he read the women perfectly. Every dress, every bar jacket, every A-line or H-line skirt, he made it feel tailored just for them. The house stayed ultra-feminine, the waists were still defined, skirts had movement, and nothing ever felt sloppy. It was classic Dior elegance, just modernized for the swinging 60s. Bohan basically kept Dior luxurious, desirable, and predictably perfect. Clients loved him because he respected the original codes, ultra femininity, structure, elegance, but he updated them just enough to feel modern. But success couldn't stop the financial reality. Marcel Boussac, Dior's majority shareholder, had overextended himself. Now listen, we're in the late 1980s and 90s, and this era is honestly one of my favorites. I'm all about the 90s aesthetic, and Ferré's Dior in this period is just everything. When Gianfranco Ferré took over Dior, it wasn't loud, it wasn't theatrical, it wasn't chaos, but girl, it was iconic. Ferré was literally known as the architect of fashion. His clothes were structured, geometric, sculptural, like couture that had been perfectly engineered on the body. Think sharp, clean lines, beautifully tailored bar jackets, elongated skirts, and silhouettes that felt modern and refined without having to shout. Under Ferré, Dior kept its signature elegance and femininity, but the vibe shifted. It became precision luxury, dresses and suits that looked like modern art, but wearable. Honestly, Gianfranco Ferré's designs were just perfect. Every single piece he created for Dior in the late 80s and 90s was wearable, iconic, and completely Dior. The elegance, the structure, the precision, it all just worked. The sales? Totally fine. Customer feedback? Positive. Critiques? Supportive. There were zero problems with this era in terms of revenue, reputation, or design. Everything was steady, stable, and just. Beautiful. I personally love Ferré's Dior. If I were a billionaire, I would absolutely own every single piece. No joke. Some of my absolute favorite Dior looks come from this era, and honestly, they still feel modern today. But here comes the twist. Even though everything was working perfectly, Bernard Arnault wasn't looking for stability. He wanted a storm. He wanted explosive growth and global attention, something Ferré couldn't deliver. In spring-summer 1997, Ferré's last collection marked his exit. Dior left the creative director position vacant, a clear marketing move by Arnault that got everyone talking. A calm before the John Galliano storm. If you love the 90s vibe like me, drop a like and comment your favorite Dior look below. And the wait ended with drama. John Galliano was poached from Givenchy to lead Dior. Galliano brought media spectacle, controversy, and creative genius. Exactly what Arnault wanted to catapult Dior back to the top. From Bohan's quiet refinement to Galliano's theatrical reinvention, Dior's design code had evolved from structured elegance into a flexible playground of couture storytelling. John Galliano was a wild, unforgettable force in Dior's history. Many consider him the most brilliant designer the house has ever had. Even though some collections wouldn't land well today, Dior had always been about extreme luxury, starting with the opulence of the new look. Galliano took that DNA and dialed it up to 11. Exaggerated silhouettes, dramatic volumes, couture theatrics that felt larger than life. He transformed Dior's ultra-femininity into something almost untethered, beautiful, chaotic, and unforgettable. His shows were pure spectacle, and yes, some themes were offensive. A reality that complicates how we look back at his genius. But it cannot erase the fact that he reshaped Dior, proving that the house could evolve from restrained elegance to theatrical couture while remaining commercially successful. He was a master of contradiction, brilliant, chaotic, transformative, but human, flawed, and yes, controversial. At his peak, Galliano was untouchable. He had won the British Empire Award and France's Légion d'honneur, cementing him as one of the world's top designers. He was literally at the height of fashion, dominating the global stage. But that brilliance came with real consequences. On February 24, 2011, Galliano was arrested after allegedly shouting racist remarks in a Paris cafe. Just 4 days later, video evidence emerged showing him telling 2 women he loved Hitler and that they would be dead if Hitler had his way. The footage was shocking and indefensible. Then came a major blow. Natalie Portman, the face of Miss Dior perfume and a Jewish woman, quit, refusing any association with him. That sealed it. Galliano was officially fired. Even at his peak, his brilliance existed alongside chaos, a reminder that genius and controversy can coexist, but one misstep can erase untouchable status. After Galliano's departure, Dior went through a quiet period. Collections during this time were either painfully safe or inconsistent, a clear contrast to the house's previous drama and spectacle. If you love this drama as much as I do, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into fashion history. Okay, now we're flipping the page. Say hello to Raf Simons, who stepped in after the drama of John Galliano. Girl, this was a totally different energy. No theatrics, no over-the-top spectacle, just modern, architectural, and a minimal Dior. Okay, after the whole Galliano drama, Dior was basically forced to bring in Raf Simons, clean, minimalist, architectural Dior. The bar jacket was reworked, A-line and H-line shapes were simplified, everything was precise, sharp, and super modern. Critics loved it. Many said this was one of the strongest and most cohesive eras for the house. A clever balance of heritage and minimalism. But honestly, I just don't get it. I don't enjoy any of Raf Simons' designs for Dior. To me, they don't feel iconic. They don't feel like Dior. Especially coming after the fantasy of Galliano and the precision of Ferré, his era feels too restrained, too cold, too safe. Critics can call it cohesive all they want. I just don't see the magic. He lasted a little over 3 years, leaving in 2015. His era is respected and studied, sure, but for me, not memorable, not iconic. Honestly, after John Galliano, I really don't enjoy Dior. Finally, in spring-summer 2017, Maria Grazia Chiuri became the first female creative director of Dior's women's collections. Her debut was notable not only for her designs, but also for its social statement. She brought feminism to the runway at a time when the movement was still widely misunderstood and even ridiculed. Honestly, I'm just going to pass quickly on Maria Grazia Chiuri. Most critics online, they weren't loving her. And personally, I don't enjoy her designs either. They were fine commercially. Dior didn't crash or anything. But to me, it wasn't really Dior. It was given more Balenciaga vibes than classic Dior elegance. Whether people hate it or like it, it was okay for the brand, but not iconic. Anderson arrived with a reputation built over more than a decade. He revived Loewe with conceptual design, craftsmanship, and bold reinterpretations of classic forms, earning critical praise and major fashion awards along the way. I'm really curious about this one because it's the first time since Christian Dior himself that one designer is running women's wear, men's wear, and haute couture all at once. But here's the thing. I want to let you tell me your ideas. Do you think he's finally going to bring Dior back to iconic status, or is this era just going to be okay or even disappointing? Drop your thoughts in the comments because I really want to know what you think. I uncover what makes fashion as a cultural movement iconic. If you love this video, make sure to subscribe and see you in the next one.